I came across this video right here about Wild Hearts. It's from Locked In Luke. 6 months ago, 40,000 views, and so basically from the thumbnail in itself, basically EA killed Wild Hearts. And yeah, Wild Hearts had so much potential to be a Monster Hunter clone that we can consume in the meantime. And it sucks, but we're gonna react to this one. I definitely want to react to this one from start to finish, So let's go ahead and let's
It's
take a
been
look at
1 year since Wild Hearts released, and within that year, Wild Hearts died. The second I saw Wild Hearts, I was intrigued. A game that was about Monster Hunting, but not Monster Hunter. It seemed to have a big budget and a Japanese aesthetic, which is the fastest way to make this weeb empty his wallet. So why did the game die? And most of all, does Wild Hearts deserve your time a year later?
Yes, I strongly think Wild Hearts deserves everyone's time, especially a year later. The only reason why it died, in my opinion, and the resources and the articles that I've read so far about this, is that EA completely just stopped supporting this game, which is sad, and they immediately stopped supporting the game moments after that moment, like as soon as it was released, I believe like a month or two later, they just completely just stopped supporting it. And it's sad because it has some really good monsters, really good weapons. And the katakuri with the whole building stuff is, oh man, it was so good. It was really good.
I'm going to share with you the story of its demise and share my experiences with Wild Hearts through the highs and through the lows.
That happened with me.
Developed by Omega Force, the creators of Tokuden, or Oni Monster Hunter, as I like to call it. They used the
Tokuden is amazing
from that series. Mixed in some.
Dude, Tokuden is an amazing game. Is a really an amazing game. Tokiden Age of Demon, Tokiden Kiwami, Tokiden 2. We definitely need a Tokiden 3 as much as we need a God Eater 4. I mean, Freedom Wars is being remastered. Soul Sacrifice should have been remastered, to be honest, because Soul Sacrifice is far more superior when it comes to gameplay, story, player count, the fans. It's way, in my opinion, it's way better than Freedom Wars. But I'm glad that Freedom Wars, because Freedom Wars is a PS Vita exclusive that never seen the light of day after the PS Vita stopped. But yeah, anyways. Oh, but yeah, the umbrella weapon is really fun, especially with the counter. Mine was the staff, to where you can have a normal staff, a spear, a shuriken, tonfas, and a gigantic greatsword. Like, amazing.
Monster Hunter isms and added in some fresh new mechanics like building. No, not that building. Yeah, that's the stuff. There was so much to look forward to. This game was not meant to take over Monster Hunter's spot in our hearts. Instead, it was supposed to give hunting fans something similar yet new while they waited for Monster Hunter Wilds. There was one issue though. They shook hands with the devil himself to get this game published. EA. But I'll get back to that glaring issue in just 1 second. First reason this game died was the launch. The game didn't just run like buns for a lot of people. It straight up wouldn't run for a lot of people. And because of this, the PC community...
It was poorly optimized, and so the developers was trying to get support. If I remember correctly, they was trying to get support from EA, and EA did not want to do anything. Like, EA did not want to do anything. And what's funny is that people were really excited for this game. People were really excited for this game because if you look past the bugs, the glitches, the crashes, if you look past that, it's a really good game. The combat is really good. but the fact that you can't enjoy the combat as much if the game is going to crash and there's a crap load of bugs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, that's, it is what it is. But
Dragged this game. Billy, Melly, and I were the lucky few who had no issues with the game at launch.
Jimmy's mom.
Bro.
Jimmy's mom.
Oh my god.
Jimmy's mom.
The second reason Wild Hearts died. I believe Monster Hunter fans were way too invested in their game and their community to really give Wild Hearts a chance.
no, no. Because when hold on, let me see. Because when Monster Hunter started to get a bit more popular with 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, there were tons and tons of other Monster Hunter clones that were being made. Like Tolkien, God Eater, Lords of Arcana, Soul Sacrifice, Freedom Wars. There's a lot of games that are like Monster Hunter that did really well because it was like Monster Hunter and people were actually giving it a chance. Like, hold on, Monster Hunter World release date. It was released in 2018, right? So if I go to Tolkien 2 release date, it was released 2 years after. And what's funny is that Tolkien 2, like, Tolkien 2 was a really good game. Like, Tolkien Age of Demon was on the PS Vita, and then Tolkien Kiwami was on PlayStation 4, and then we got Tolkien 2. All of these games were really good. Were really, really good. And then you also have God Eater as well, because we have God Eater Rage Burst, God Eater 2, or was it God Eater 2 Rage Burst? Oh, something around those lines. Let me actually take a look. God Eater titles. See, okay, yeah. You have God Eater Resurrection, I think. God Eater Online, God Eater 2 Rage Burst. There were a lot of God Eater games. There was a lot. Yeah, God Eater Burst, God Eater 2 Rage Burst, God Eater Resurrection, and then God Eater 3. Like, even though God Eater Resurrection was basically like a remake or remaster of God Eater Burst, which I believe it was on PSP at the time, and that's when PSP was huge. PSP was huge back then, during that time. So, like, they definitely utilize as much of that as they possibly
understandable
can.
when you play a franchise for a decade or more. The devs treat you right with paid for and free content, and over time, that game becomes almost a second home to you. Also, many Monster Hunter fans wondered why this game looked graphically half as impressive as Monster Hunter World while performing 90% worse than Monster Hunter World, yet it was running on a hardware multiple times more powerful than what Monster Hunter World had. I'm telling you, the art style really carries this game. But the third reason it died is because it came out in 2023. Do I need to say more? Look at this year. This year was stacked, bro.
Not gonna lie. Mortal Kombat 1 was Armored Core 6 was good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do a very hot take right now. Tears of the Kingdom was because it was basically supposed to be a DLC, but it got turned into its own game. Hogwarts Legacy was good. I mean, Dead Space Remake was basically, I already played Dead Space so many times. I know everything from the back of my hand. This is just like a more HD version of that. So of course that one was gonna do good because it's basically a classic. Metro Prime Remaster. I'm not gonna get into Metro Prime. I never played Metroid Prime. But yeah, oh, Dauntless also came out after World. Really? Hold on. Let me take a look into that Dauntless. I used to play Dauntless a lot, honestly. Wow, it really did. It really, really did. It came out a year after. A year after, dude. That's crazy. I always thought that Dauntless came before. But hey, I guess I'm wrong.
Lastly, and for me, the biggest reason it failed is because EA cut support for the game after just 7 months. Only 7 months. This is not how you build a loyal and raving fan base like Monster Hunter has. And it's definitely not how you convert fans of that series to come over and try your game. But EA and Ubisoft are just dookie companies. And that sucks, because I miss this dude saying,
EA Originals.
Now, I want to start by ranting on everything I love about Wild Hearts, while I hunt the last kimono they added to the game before it lost support, the Murakumo. Nice, nice, nice. To prepare for this fight, we need to eat, which will both buff our health and abilities. But we found out our bellies were already full. This is one of the many quality of life things I appreciate from Wild Hearts. When you get killed by a kimono, you don't need to waste resources and eat up again. Instead, you keep all the buffs from eating until you are successful with the hunt. Eating is definitely more involved than in Monster Hunter. You don't get a 5-star chef to cook you up meals. Instead, you get to farm and hunt. This could be very annoying very quickly, but everything is as automated as possible, requiring the bare minimum from the player. If you need fish, just let this wooden fish the fish for you. Most materials you will pick up are found around the world while hunting the bigger kimono, and some small animals you can kill as you pass them on
areas
the hunt, but
in this game were freaking amazing.
I need so much more of this in my life. In general, Wild Hearts on the back end does a great job of having you create automated systems to get materials for crafting, or automated buildings for materials which are utilized for building in combat, or creating your own transportation systems with grapple lines. My favorite way of travel by far is the big wheel. Obvious inspiration from Spider-Man's iconic big wheel. We eventually made our way to the Fox. We had not played a single minute of Wild Hearts for months, and we were going to jump into one of the hardest fights in the game, not including deeply volatile kimonos. Safe to say, we got stomped hard. I tried to use my favorite weapon, which was a transforming staff, but the Fox was so fast, I felt like I could never build up meter, which allowed for big moves like this.
Oh, dude, see, this is why, like, Wild Hearts had so much potential because of weapons like these. Weapons like these, you don't come across that often with weapons like these. The weapons are so good. So good. I mean, if I were to replay Wild Hearts, would you guys be interested in seeing it? You know, would Wild Hearts be something that you guys would want to see and be? And I would like some honesty. but no, just let me know. Let me know.
God, oh my 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 god. So we realized we needed a shortcut to beating the Fox without grinding to get good again. This is where the umbrella enters the chat. Because the Fox was so crazy fast, we believed that the only way to beat the Fox was to parry it. Honestly, it took just as much time to relearn the timing on the parry as it would have been to just get good again with the staff. But it didn't matter, because like all games, hitting the parry made an ungodly amount of feel-good chemicals flow into the brain. So I grabbed the best umbrella I had, which was pretty darn good, as I had almost maxed out every weapon in the game. It was really impressive to me that all the weapons were fun and had an easy to pick up quality to them. In Monster Hunter, I dedicated myself to 1, maybe 2 weapons per playthrough of the game to get actually good with it. Katana in Wild Hearts was fun as hell. The hammer was funny to look at and play. The big sword, it was epic, of course. Somehow, they even managed to make the bow fun. And the cannon could transform you into an Apache attack helicopter, which also allowed you to shoot a Kamehameha. My main weapon was the morphine staff, because it was insanely fun when you got into the rhythm of switching between weapon forms.
This weapon was so good. If you know exactly how to do the combos, this weapon would be extremely overpowered. You can literally throw a huge shuriken, and then grab it, and then like it's kind of like a timed base attack in a way. But hey, Isaac, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. We're just reacting to this video about Wild Hearts, basically a year later after its release. But hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Ooh, excuse me. Hope you're doing good.
Was the most powerful finisher in the game. While the chain was easily the best weapon in the game. Basically easy mode if you wanted to have unlimited mobility and style. Wild Heart's weapons are simple when compared to Monster Hunter, but it's fine that they are simple because when you add in building to the mix, the combat becomes more complex. So, after a couple more times of getting murdered by our beautiful pink friend, we reached our time limit and we would need to wait for tomorrow.
1 week later.
Melly was somehow always too busy to play, and I wasn't finishing this without her. So we finally got back on a week later. We had to hope that the skills we obtained aged like fine wine, or we were going to be starting from square one. Ladies and gents, we were the purest sake Japan had ever seen. After today, they would call me Lucas Locked In Leander. The first stage was unbelievably easy, with me nailing the fox in the face with the new Beyblades they added to the game. Building was easy to jump back into.
Beyblades!
How it works is that
They got Beyblades? I didn't even know they got Beyblades. They got Beyblades. Yo, I have to replay Wild Hearts. I did not know they have Beyblades.
you have basic building blocks that let you do simple functions like jump higher, spring through attacks, or helicopter mode. Every single one of these building blocks gives a weapon a unique attack, which are better for hunting some kimono, while some were also great for traversal, like the glider, which speeds up a hunt a lot. You can combine these building blocks into 3 to 6 block combination patterns, which will create walls, or traps, or cannons of doom. And of course, Beyblades. You don't need to memorize.
This is why this game had so much potential, dude.
The pattern,
this is the reason why this game has so much potential that if they would have
right-hand side of the screen, along with the pattern, it reminds me a lot of the stratagems from Helldivers. Except Helldivers made it easier to use by making the symbols D-pad direction signs. For this fight, the Beyblade and the fireworks would be the most important building. The Beyblades would stun him when he did specific moves, while the fireworks would knock him out of the air. But it was hard to land these attacks at times, due to his diverse moveset.
Oh, I fell the water.
With every parry, my confidence grew, but so did my hubris. I was honestly getting down too much, even though I was doing good damage. So eventually, when I tried to parry a move that I knew deep down I had no business trying to parry, this happened.
I'm dead, no!
Every time you go down, the time given for your teammates to pick you back up shortens, and you only get 3 full deaths before you fail a hunt. We had just 1 more life before we would fail the hunt.
No!
Yeah, dude, that's what I also like, because this also had
but we wouldn't stop until we had that glorious armor. Just look at it.
Like, it also had like a 3-card system sort of thing too.
So we ran the hunt again, and I wasted all of our lives right at the beginning, which was worrying. But then I started to lock in, parrying so many of the moves I could tell I was memorizing the moveset. With every parry, I would fill up my bar, allowing me to do the spinny umbrella spin of doom. But yet again, I was getting overconfident.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm stunned. I'm going to die. What? Auto parry! Auto parry! The auto parry! The auto parry! The auto parry! Let's get the fuck out of here! Let's get you healing! Oh my god! It came in clutch for the one time! The one time I needed it!
We thought the stars had aligned. This was our time.
Yo, and the combat would be insane. The thing is that the combat is insane. The combat is freaking nice, dude. The combat is really, really good, you know, and like it just sucks that it just gets overlooked because you show someone Wild Hearts and they see that EA is on it and they be like, ugh, what's that? Ugh, like, ugh, you know, like immediately they'd be disgusted by it. And I don't think it's completely fair to the game because the game is really good. The game is really good, and it's not truly fair for them to try to try to crap on a game that they haven't played because of the fact that EA has something to do with it. I mean, yeah, EA is not the best. EA used to be one of the best companies back then when they used to be like EA Sports into the game. I'm like, dude, like the NFL Street game or the NBA Street games, like, dude, like it was really good. It was really good, man. And yeah, Isaac, that's the thing. Like Wild Hearts is a really good game. Like I was one of the few that didn't really experience a lot of bugs or glitches or crashes all that much, and so I was actually able to enjoy enjoy as much as I can, and it was really, really good. The combat is so good in my opinion. If you know how to use a weapon in Wild Hearts, dude, the combat, everything else is gonna click for you.
No!
If I hadn't died and went down so much, Melly would have been okay to go down. And technically, my revive was so short, I died before she did. Meaning, I used all 3 of our lives. We needed a little breather. So we took a quick dip trip to the spa and played around a bit and spent some time with our buddy, Tuki Tuki. Listen to the little noises he makes. This replenished our energy and lifted our spirits. The final battle was upon us. We started the fight off strong. I had full meter and I was able to get a couple full combo umbrella spins off. I was a bit worried because I missed my parries, but the fight would be long, so I tried to adjust. It was so easy to get overconfident
really
from the godlike parries I started to
like,
put on display.
You go into an area
only
to where
to be
there's
put in my
multiple
place
monsters
groveling
in
for a
an area,
revive.
like basically
Eventually,
like Monster
we'd
Hunter.
gotten through the first part of the hunt without a full death. Let's see how the second phase went.
Oh. Ooh, you can... What the? Well, I'm getting, like, trying to heal, and I'm just getting, like, combos for it.
Well, that's this phase in a nutshell. I fell into that healing trap that happens in Monster Hunter
it's
or
really
Dark Souls,
similar.
where you
Like,
feel
dude,
like
there's-
you need the heal.
There's a lot of similarities between this game and Monster Hunter. It's just the only thing that's different is weapons, areas, combat. Yeah, weapons, area, combat, resource system, exploration, monsters. And what's funny is that that there's a very interesting concept with weapons and armor. There's 2 paths that you choose from whenever you're creating armor from the monsters, and the different path you choose for your armor will determine the type of skills that you do. If you want more to be a more human-like armor, then you get certain skills. But if you want it more of a monstrous style armor, you get different skills, and then you can actually which one that you want to do. And it's really good because that means each armor piece that you make has those 2 different types of paths that you can choose from. If you want your helmet to look more monstrous or more demonic, you could go down that path. or if you want it to look more humanized and more normal, you go down that path as well. And you have that option for every single armor piece, which I find to be really cool and a really cool system that I do believe that Monster Hunter should try to implement in their future titles in a way. I think it's kind of like old melee and shooter armor system from old gen. Yeah, basically to where you have Blade Master armor and you have Gun Master armor. But here's the thing about that: it's kind of like an extra step because, for example, let's just say I buy Bareth armor for the arms, and then I have two choices after I create that piece of armor and I equip it. I can either go the Blade Master path that would give me skills all for melee weapons, or I go towards the Gun Master to where everything is for like the skills that give me the guns. Instead of just be like, okay, I'm just gonna create the Blade Master or the Gun Master armor set. It's like, no, you build that armor piece, and then from that armor piece you get to deviate to those paths. That's basically what it is. So it's very similar, but at the same time a little bit different. They tweaked it a little bit, you know, they got the screwdriver and, like, you know, turned the nail a little bit more. But
so then you heal,
I think that was
but
very
get hit
interesting
while healing, making it so that you need to heal, but then get hit again until eventually you come out the other end with full health and 0 potions left. Luckily, another nice thing is that in Wild Hearts, you get 10 potions from the healing wells and 2 potions per plant you find while roaming. So you never feel like you need to complete chores to have health like in Monster Hunter. Granted, it is easy to get full health potions in Monster Hunter, but it is another step to obtain a necessary item for hunting. We fought our way back to the tree, and I finally got out of the way of his big insta-kill AoE.
Yes, I got out of here once!
And Melly ripped out an orb off his back. I haven't really been able to showcase the climbing because this dude is so small, but you can climb Kimono after breaking parts of their body to acquire more materials and overcharge the amount you can carry.
I did not know that. That once you break a part off of a kimono, you can attach yourself to that broken part to get more resources. I did not know that. Imagine if Monster Hunter would have done that. Like, if I would have messed up the monster's face, for example, Raytheon. If I would have break a Raytheon's face and I attach myself to the Raytheon's face and I hit it some more to get more materials, I think that would be cool. And yeah, they're basically fighting the very last monster that was updated to Wild Hearts, and it's a very hard monster. I've never got the chance to fight it, to be honest.
Basically allowing you to spam buildings afterwards. It's a great mechanic, inspired by Dragon's Dogma, and can result in moments like this.
I'm on him. Let's go. Oh my god. We're up. We are up. We're going. We're flying.
Oh no.
You can show
Yeah.
me the world. The marine sides is... Oh shit! Aladdin!
Back to the fight. I was doing extremely well. I felt badass parrying all these moves. Like Poe when he learns to deflect all those fireworks. Or like that meme dude who knows Kung Fu, which angered the fox, resulting in Melly's death. But it was fine, because the fox was actually on death's door, and we had only died that one time. The final fight was upon us. Locked in Luke was back. Relentless in our attack, we were battering him.
Don't worry. Is it?
Get the... Find the cord! Find the cord!
Yeah, worst timing ever, dude.
Oh, he's angry with you!
See, that's why I'm always using a wired
I
controller.
swear, my soul left my body when she said my controller died. We were capturing gameplay that deserved to be on a dark side combat reel.
Okay, I'm in the ocean.
Our minds were starting to falter as the fight raged on, but finally, one spin later and
Oh! Holy shit!
It kind of reminds me of Amaterasu.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my! Wait, we got to hit him with the. Hit him with the bow. He was a mighty beast. He was mighty. I don't really want to kill him. He's so furry and cute. But in god damn, I'm gonna put him out of his misery. You packing him, giant box.
Like, dude, something like that. Like, the thing is, that's the one thing. That's one of the things I love about Wild Hearts is that once you defeat a creature, you can do a finishing move, like do the final blow, and it does something like this. And I find it to be so interesting every single time. I love doing the final blows to the monsters in this game. Like, it's so good, so good.
We did it.
Oh my god.
Wow.
the Murakumo had been defeated and our Wild Hearts journey complete. Well, at least for now. Playing again reignited our spark to play, and I'm sure that the game's hardest challenges still await us with a deeply volatile kimono to hunt, and of course, we need to get dripped out on Fox gear. So now that I've ranted and raved about all the most amazing parts of Wild Hearts, I truly do love this game, but there is not a single perfect game in this world, and Wild Hearts is far from perfect. Besides performance issues,
it's
I
far
believe
from
there are
perfect.
two problems with the game that are key strengths for Monster Hunter. The first one being the gear that you will obtain. With every single monster hunting game, one of the driving forces of the game is the gear. Without epic looking gear and weapons, there's no tangible reason for a player to want to fight a monster more than 2 or 3 times. Without gear, monster hunting games would just become boss rush games. For some players, this is motivation enough, but for most players, there needs to be an incentive to fight the monsters. Wild Hearts gear is
I agree.
unbelievably hit or miss. Can we take a look at this dude? Why does he have booty shorts on? Or look at his helmet. That makes me look like a certified pinhead. And I don't even know where to start with this hood.
Oh, there it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Oh, I think I hit my mic. Here's the one thing that, like, I disagree, because, like, the armor in this game are like, it's a very interesting concept. It's a very unique concept because in Monster Hunter now, well, not the game Monster Hunter now, but now in this day and age of Monster Hunter, they completely taken away the whole Blade Master and Gun Master armor sets, to where now it's not locked at all. So it's all universal with each and every monster, and with Wild Hearts, you have the regular armor set, you have the regular armor piece, and then you have the human path modification and the kimono path modification. And depending on which path you go to, with kimono, of course, you look more of the you look more like the monster, but with the human path modification, you basically look more normal. And things like that, and I do find that system to be far more unique than what Monster Hunter has. But even though with Monster Hunter they made it so simple that they don't really have to worry about it that much. They really don't have to worry about it that much because of how simple it really is, if that makes sense. You know, with how simple it really is, because you're just making it's like now they're getting a bit more complex now with Wilds, with what they did with Wilds, but still it's a very simple concept with Monster Hunter with the armor sets. You know, you have Blade Master or Gun Master. They took that away, so the armor are more universal across every weapon and things like that. So
how does it stay up? Why is it made for someone with the head the size of 4 watermelons? And who thought this was good battle armor? I know a lot of the stuff is very Japanese inspired, which is what sold the game for me. But I think this is where Monster Hunter shine. Because it isn't bound to one culture's aesthetic, it gives them a ton of freedom. And in general, Monster Hunter follows the rule of cool. Make what.
See, here's the thing though. Here's the thing, because with that, It all depends on the style of the game, because look at Rise. Rise is more, of course, with like the Oni, like the with Aknosam, with basically, if you kind of think about it, there is like a demonic monster spirit in Japan that's like a shape of an umbrella that has eyes. Then you have the Kappa, then you have like the regular Oni, which I believe is like Gos Harag and things like that. I do still strongly think that the whole weapon system in Wild Hearts can be a bit superior than Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter in general. And besides, and yeah, dude, Wild Hearts is basically a Japanese style game. So if Wild Hearts was not a Japanese style game, then the weapons or the armor wouldn't really be strictly Japanese. So yeah, so the point that he made was a bit invalid, because Monster Hunter in itself from the very beginning comes with a whole bunch of different styles. You know, Wild Hearts is one of the games that it's mostly aesthetic and like in a Japanese style way, with the Onis and the monsters and the weapons. So yeah, it's gonna be more Japanese style. Like, look at Neo. Neo is basically a Dark Souls version of, yeah, it's basically a Japanese Dark Souls. Neo 1 and Neo 2 are basically Japanese versions of Dark Souls, but you don't see Dark Souls weapons and armor being added to Neo, and you don't see Neo's weapons and armor being added to the Dark Souls games, you know? Like yeah, because if a game sticks, exactly, dude, exactly. If a game sticks with one style, it could be very boring. You know, it could be very bland. But if a game has too much, then it could be too messy, too overwhelming. People will say that it's probably not player friendly, because there's just so much there, and you have to like look at it and compile everything very fast, you know. But yeah, gaming company, then what am I supposed to do? Just do what you like.
What's as cool as humanly possible within a theme. That's not to say that Wild Hearts doesn't have cool armor sets. Many of the samurai and ninja inspired ones are fantastic, but when you compare it to the sheer volume of Monster Hunter armor sets, it feels a bit dry. This also carries on to the look of...
It's gonna feel dry because Monster Hunter in itself doesn't really have a particular style of culture. That's the thing, like Monster Hunter doesn't stick with one particular culture. Look at Tokiden Age of Demons, Tokiden Kiwami, Tokiden 2. They're very highly Japanese style Monster Hunter like games, and so look at the armors and weapons. Highly Japanese style, you know, extremely Japanese style. But the weapons and armor weren't bland, because with it being in its own style could come creativity with the Japanese art, with the Japanese style. You could be creative with it, and the weapons and armor were really, really good. Matter of fact, I'm gonna buy Tokiden Kiwami and I will replay it and I will make videos on it, because Tokiden is one of those games to where it's highly underrated. It's highly underrated. To where not a lot of people sort of appreciate it as much. Because like another Monster Hunter like game that was really, really up and out there, that is God Eater. Like, that is set in a post-apocalyptic world. And so what are the weapons? Post-apocalyptic style weapons. You got a dagger, fast dagger, a medium speed of a sword. You get a very long, gigantic greatsword. You can switch to your guns. But the thing is, your character is the only character that has the ability to switch from a gun to a melee weapon and also have a shield all at once. In God Eater, you don't even have armor. You just have clothes. Dude, yeah, like, you don't even have armor in God Eater, you know? Like,
of the weapons. While I believe most of the weapons look great, the issue comes when I believe they do a bit too much color swapping and not enough actual change. Again, who thought it was okay to have this hammer as a blue, light blue, white, green, and orange variant, all connected to different monsters?
see, here's the thing, the reason why I don't mind that at all. As someone that plays Phantasy Star Universe a lot, I mean a lot, you will get the same weapons over and over and over again from either drops or you make them yourself, and you can add different element to it, which will not change the whole design of the weapon, but it will just change the color of the weapon, and the color will basically mean the element, which I didn't mind at all, because in Wild I did not mind that at all, because me playing Phantasy Star Universe and experiencing something like that in Phantasy Star Universe, I didn't really care too much about it. I mean, yeah, I do understand that at a certain point the weapons should change a bit. Like, dude, come Isaac. Isaac's like, this guy don't know what he's talking about. No, but he does make a couple of good points. But I do feel like there are a couple of points as well that that can come up in a good discussion. You know, I don't want to bash anybody, but I'm just basically reacting or doing a discussion of my thoughts and opinions based on his thoughts and opinions and stuff like that, because he played it, I played it, you know, we both gonna have different opinions on it, of course. Overall, that's a given. There's always gonna be different opinions everywhere, but as long as we're able to sit down and respect each other's opinions and then shake hands and have a good discussion, that's basically all that matters. It's good communication, guys. Good communication.
There's at different sections of the skill tree. I understand that most people will only go down one line of the skill tree for a weapon, so by recoloring the weapon, you allow a player to see a design that they probably would have missed if it was all unique. But that gives us no incentive to collect or try out other weapon elements besides stat increases. And honestly, that's just a cop-out answer. No one is saying that a video game which has a core gameplay loop of crafting gear is better because it has less unique gear. Unimpressive gear is a key problem to making the game feel like not a full experience. But I believe more importantly, the worst part of the game is the overall vibe and story of the game. Now, Monster Hunter games usually have pretty surface level story.
Hold on, this is where I would disagree cold-heartedly. Monster Hunter is not a game to where if you come into Monster Hunter thinking that you're gonna get a really good story, you might want to turn around, okay? Monster Hunter went from having barely any story to a story to For Ultimate being like one of the greatest storytelling in Monster Hunter to Generations Ultimate, to where the story is there, you just have to read. And then you have a mediocre trying very hard to really get us to engage in the story, and that is World, Iceborne, you know, Rise and Summit. Well, okay, but I want to say they're like at surface level. I would say they're a bit more down, because the game doesn't really sort of tries to revolve around much in the story. It tries to revolve more with the new mechanics of combat, because that's what Monster Hunter is really all about, is what new mechanics can I use to make combat more interesting, to take down a monster, you know, and what armor and weapons and skills that are new that I can use to make my build to fight the monsters. I don't care. People like most people are not gonna care about the story. I mean, there are some people that do care about the story, which is why Wilds, in an interview for Wilds, they're trying to incorporate more of a story. But these type of games, to where you go out, hunt a monster, get the materials, come back, make the weapons and armor, and then fight a stronger monster. You have to do like a give or take. You give us a really good mechanic, and you give us an okay story, or you give us a great story, or ends okay mechanics when it comes to like the gameplay. It's gonna be a give or take. But Capcom, they've been basically trying for years. I'm pretty sure Monster Hunter Wilds is gonna be one of those games to where they're gonna give you a good, decent story that could be up to par with 4 Ultimate, with great mechanics. Yes, the story of 4 is great. Rise is those are fine. Those are completely fine. Other than these games, the other games, stories are not. Yeah, stories. I don't really do care much about stories. I want to skin monsters alive and wear their children in Monster Hunter, but for Sunbreak 4, it's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different because in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, you actually connect with the NPCs.
Stories. But the vibes are immaculate. Sitting down with the boys as a chef cat makes you a Michelin star 5-course meal that would make Gordon Ramsay scream in enjoyment with anticipation for the meal.
Honestly,
Nothing really tops that. In Monster Hunter,
really
they
care.
do their best to fill the world with little stories and moments that bring a smile to your face. While in Wild Hearts, a little child gets eaten alive by a 20-foot tall lava gorilla. I am not joking. There's a part of the game where the main town gets wrecked, and the leader of the town, who is a child, ends up needing to leave. You then start to wonder as you're progressing through the game, hey, where did that little leader girl go? Then you find out on a random side quest that she straight up dies.
The kemono that killed her. I've been torn about whether to have it hunted or not.
This left such a bitter taste in my mouth. I remember turning off the game and not even wanting to play it for a couple of days. In most games, there is a point to someone's death. You get connected to their character, and then for one reason or another, they die. And that has a ripple effect on the cast of characters, the world, and hopefully the player. I believe that when children die, there should be greater care into how that is portrayed, like in The Last of Us. Small spoiler warning for the first hour of the game. Skip here if you don't want to hear it. They build up our connection to Joel's daughter, and by the end of the first section of the game, they rip that away from us. And you not only see how it impacts Joel in that moment, but also how it shapes the rest of the game.
But hold on though. You're comparing a highly story-driven game to a monster hunting game. The story doesn't really come to be all that important in my opinion. Because if you were to compare that, because in Monster Hunter, in the stories, you don't really hear or see, or you don't really read about it. You don't really read about it. You don't see it. You don't hear it. If a character were to die in Monster Hunter, because they don't show you that the character is gonna die, they made it seem like the characters are like sort of immortal, to where they live on forever. And in Tolkien then there's characters that would die, and there were characters that would die, and it will be very quick, because those type of games are not that story driven. I mean, Tolkien is a more story driven Monster Hunter style game than Monster Hunter. God Eater is a good example. Characters die in that universe all the time. It's a post-apocalyptic world where monsters are literally eating everything, destroying everything, and you're basically the last line of humanity. But in order to defeat a monster, you have to become the monster, And so characters dies in the universe all the time. But I'm not gonna compare I'm not gonna compare God Eater to like God of War or to The Last of Us or to like other highly story driven games. I don't think that's a fair comparison to it, because if you want to talk about a character's death in a Monster Hunter type game, compare it to another one. You know, yeah, God Eater is kind of dark. It's a really good one. My favorite one is God Eater 3. Then comes God Eater 2. And then God Eater Resurrection. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's dark. Yeah, compared to a AAA game to an RPG, it makes no sense.
No, this game is not Last of Us, and I am not expecting the same storytelling nuances from a Monster Hunter game.
Okay, all right. I should have kept playing. Okay, you said it right then and there. Okay, all is good. All is good.
But why kill the little child leader girl? How does this aid in crafting a memorable or impactful story? Just so that it can create a more gritty world? Well, I don't believe that's the way to do it. Honestly, no one in my playgroup cared in the least bit for any of the characters or the story in general. One part of the game that I did enjoy with the story and the overall vibes was the themes on balance with both the world and nature. I wish that instead of going for a darker vibe, they would have gone for a more peaceful, relaxing, and reflective vibe outside of combat. Make the world feel like you're trying to connect with nature. Maybe a hub world where you talk with spirits of nature or animals and see how your hunts are changing the world, with some of the kimono abusing the nature around them, creating imbalances like many of the kimono already do in the game. But then having some monsters that are obviously unnatural, rejecting how nature should be, a corrupting force, if you will. Maybe the game's about purifying the rampaging kimono while killing the monsters. I don't know, I just wanted to give some creative possible solutions. But if there ever is a Wild Hearts 2, we need something more compelling.
I feel like Omega Force was trying to do that sort of concept, because I think I read an article about that, about like purifications and things like that. And I do think that I do think that Omega Force was trying to do something like that, but EA just, you know, being EA, we got something else. My friend ignored the story in God Eater and simped for the female's character instead. Yeah, that is very given in God Eater, to be honest with you.
That makes me want to stay in this world for 100+ hours. Now that I've spoken in depth about the shortcomings of Wild Hearts, let me finish off with my favorite moment from the game, when me and Melly fought the tiger. This man had everything: range, damage, Rasengans, damage, long combo strings, and did I mention damage? We knew we needed a new approach, and I had fallen into using the staff, which required me to perform chores within a set amount of time, which he would knock me out of, while Melly would try to spin to win with the claw, only to get KO'd in the air. So we had to get back to our roots. Remember who we were when we started playing this game. Just a couple of gamers with a dream to one day become parry gods.
Yeah, I think it is the flagship. Either that one is the 4 is the Ice
proper
Wolf.
umbrellas prepared. During this time, I learned that there was different techniques to boost the umbrella's meter and how to do the ultimate Mary Poppins umbrella spin of death. So the fight begins. Yeah, he still crushed us at first, but slowly we learned all of his moves, how long it took for him to jump down,
dude.
the wind slash he would do with his tail, and how to parry the Rasengan. Well, we hadn't gotten that down, but we would slide away. With each loss, we grew closer to getting his sweet, sweet armor, until finally, it all clicked. It was as if me and Melly had acquired Ultra Instinct. Almost every move was parried, and we wreaked havoc on it with our deadly umbrellas. As it ran away, the time had finally come. I was able to reach the tiger faster, because Melly needed to grab some potions. I made sure to not engage, as we hadn't died yet, but we had gone down enough that if we went down again, it was instant death without someone to immediately pick you up. Melly came into the fray, burning with excitement, but as she arrived, she messed up on a parry on a big move, dropping to her knee and immediately dying. But it was okay. I disengaged the beast, we had 2 more lives, and mess ups happen. She died again. The first death must have gotten to her head, but she was always the cautious one. She was always the one who picked me up. We could not allow this thing to beat us again. So I told her, babe, you've got this. Remember who you are. You're the man-eater, the person who picks everyone up and keeps on fighting until the last second. You can do this. I could see it in her eye. She was locked and loaded again. Her mind was in the perfect place, and the tiger was ready to put that to the test. It had run to our tent and was ready to finish the job. So it decided to almost immediately deal out its most damaging and hard to parry move, the double jump into the Rasengan. With how low her health was and how much damage each one of these attacks do, getting hit most certainly would mean death and the end of our hunt. But Melly did not back down. She stood her ground and showed the beast what she was made of. 1 parry, 2 parries, and the impossible was accomplished. The perfect Rasengan parry into a massive final blow of the tiger. Cheers erupted as we jumped up and down in the living room. Melly had ascended the parry god, and this was her gamer moment.
That was good. Yeah, I think he's writing an anime script too, man. It's kind of gonna be hooked. I was like, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? The power of love, the power of friendship.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to anime, I hate the power of love. I hate the power of friendship. Like, dude, that's why I couldn't get into Fire Tail. Was it Fairy Tail? Not Fire Tail. Fairy Tail. That's why I couldn't get into Fairy Tail. Because that whole power of friendship thing is
Whether you like Monster Hunter or something threw you off about that franchise, I believe at a sale price, Wild Hearts is worth your time a year later. This game still has intriguing mechanics that are executed on unbelievably well, and fantastic fights in it. Wild Hearts is a ball of potential that became one of my favorite games of 2023 despite all of its flaws. I made countless memories.
Throw it back, eh? That's a
Oh my god. Someone needs a Sheen voice.
Shane boy.
Sheen is hard.
He's like, yay!
And every time I log back in with my wife, a wave of happiness is poured over us. Like we already have nostalgia for the game. Wild Hearts deserves another chance at life, and I hope the developers get that chance. Hopefully with a publisher that actually supports them. I know Sony has a lot of plans for live service games, and Microsoft, they'll buy anyone at any point in time if they get a chance. So
I watched an episode of Fairy Tail and I thought it was cool, but
like
when I
Microsoft
got older,
or Sony acquires the rights to the
yeah.
franchise and see the potential impact a Monster Hunter-like game could have on their current catalog. I want to thank everyone for the support.
It really
all
did.
the subscribers, everyone who's followed me on all my platforms. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and that's unreal. That is crazy. If you enjoy
Hold on, let me see where you at right now. You're at
your stories down below.
999.
And
Guess
give me some
what?
ideas for what you would want
I'm your
for a sequel for Wild Hearts.
1,000th
And
subscriber.
hopefully we get it.
Give me
Hold
your
on, let's refresh. Let's refresh.
Manage money as a
Let's
family with the Venmo.
He's 1,000 subscribers. Oh man, I liked the video. I really did like the video. You know, there were a lot of points that I do agree with, and there were some that I do disagree with. But you know, as long as we're able to have a nice conversation, that's basically all that matters. You know, it's like a friendly debate. You know, yeah, I do have more. Even though I do have more subscribers, I don't think that I'm better. Like you know, that whole superiority complex that I've seen in a lot of other YouTubers, just because they have a higher subscriber count, it's just the fact that he's like me and him, like him and I are so close to where it's like, yo, you know, let's you know, we gotta stick with one another, you know. We gotta stick with one another. And the comments basically saying like here's one thing. Many people should subscribe and never maybe yeah. Here's the thing though. Like a lot of people do subscribe and not watch the content, which I do not like. You know, I will only subscribe if I know I'm going to watch their content. And yeah, me watching this whole video, like, it was really put together to where, like, yeah, I would definitely would like to watch more of his videos. Like, you could see here that people did enjoy Wow Hearts. People really did enjoy it. And then this other one that says, I think it died for 2 reasons: poor optimization on launch, which is a given. And then you have the EA's short-sighted decision to pull out early. If they would have just stick by it, if they would have stick by it, it would have been so much better than what it was before. You know. And this one said devs picked the wrong publisher. Yep, they really did. And you would say game good, publisher bad. They didn't give it enough, like, it's effing raw. But yeah, I would also agree, like, this, it's one of the best reviews I've seen for this game. Yeah, dude, yeah. The thing is, because at the end of the day, it's not the game's fault, you know. It's not the game's fault. It's the people who made the game. But at the same time, it's all due to the company as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like due to the company as well. It all depends on how they do it. But I digress. But what do you think, Isaac? What does everyone else thinks? It is going to be the end of the stream, though. I do want to apologize that it didn't really play much of Monster Hunter. I do want to sort of incorporate like a new thumbnail, though. I do want to incorporate a new thumbnail that sort of ties in with playing the game and doing reactions at the end as well. I do want to get all the nitty gritty stuff out of the way for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.